I'd just like to begin by saying that I'm honored to be here today to show my endorsement of my good friend and colleague, Tim Seip. You know, as most of you know, Tim and I worked very closely together in Harrisburg on the issues that affect Schuylkill County every day. And I don't want to take anything from Tim's remarks, but there are some things that I did want to point out that as I reflected back on the things that we had done together. Things like job creation, Marcellus Shale, labor, property tax elimination, and of course education. You know, with regards to job creation, when Tim first took office in 2006, Pennsylvania was 48th out of 50 in job creation. When he left, we were 7th. We've now gone to 26th. That goes to show you what happens when you put people in that aren't afraid to go to work every day and do the jobs that need to be done. And Tim was one of the people that was a driving force behind a lot of that. Marcellus Shale was a big issue when Tim first came to the legislature. Tim and I both voted for a reasonable severance tax. Every other state in the nation that has Marcellus Shale or has natural gas has a severance tax. And that money is spread throughout the state. So both Tim and I were champions on legislation that made it through the House that unfortunately died in the Senate. We have a saying in the House: all good bills go to the Senate and die. This is just another example of a very good piece of legislation that went to the Senate and died, and what finally became law was, in my opinion, not in the best interest of Schuylkill County or the people of Pennsylvania. Property tax relief. Tim Seip did more in his short term in the legislature for property tax than any other member that I know. His SMART plan has been the basis and the guidance for all other legislation that has come. I'm sure he's going to talk about that, but I just want to say on a personal note, it was his driving efforts that led to the first type of legislation that I think could actually eliminate property taxes. And finally, education. You know, as a social worker and as an educator, Tim was a driving force behind education. Public education in this state right now is under attack. There's no other way to say that. In Schuylkill County alone, in the last 2 years, we've lost $24 million to our 11 schools. And that's because of a different philosophy in Harrisburg. We feel that at home. Things that we have lost: after-school tutoring, Sciences Elementary, Classrooms for the Future, the STAR program, and full-day kindergarten. Those programs now are gone. And that only took 2 years to change that. And I think a lot of that has to do with no one party should ever be in control of everything. And we need a stronger Democratic voice and a reasonable mind, in my opinion, in the Senate. And the last thing I'd just like to say is Tim's devotion to organized labor. One of the proudest moments I ever had with Tim was when we came off the floor and I went to his office, which is only a couple doors down from mine. And I walked in and he said, you ready to go down? And because Lane and all the guys are down there, are you ready to go down? And I said, no, I think they're going to come up here and meet us. He goes, no, I think we should go down and meet them. So we walked through the Capitol. I don't think I'll ever forget this. We walked through the Capitol and out onto the Capitol steps. And for anybody that's never been there, these Capitol steps are huge. And as we're going towards the steps, I could hear a small roar, which really turned into something once we went through the doors. There must have been about 4,000, 5,000 members of organized labor there. And without blinking, Timmy said, are you ready? And I said, I'm right behind you. There he goes, cup in hand, right? You know, now he doesn't go down the side. And no, Tim goes right through the middle. And I'm thinking to myself, we're going to get killed. I mean, they're going to lynch us. Because these people hadn't been paid, and they weren't going to get paid until the budget passed. And the first guy I ran into was like this close to me, and he's screaming, you know, get back in there and pass this budget. And Tim, right in the middle of the crowd, Tim goes, we're with you. And we're here to show you physically that we're with them. A moment I don't think I'll ever forget. Then we finally found the Schuylkill County people, and they also came to our rescue. But the reason why I bring that to your attention is Tim has never been afraid to roll up his sleeves. He's never been afraid to take on the tough issues that his constituents need. I think his background in social work makes him very sensitive to the people's needs, and his true love of labor makes him a real champion for working class. And that's why I'm here today, to stand shoulder to shoulder with him and give him my unequivocal support for the Senate.